Welcome to Who Ties. It's your boy, Ahmad K Smith, also known as A-Kiss, back with another fire episode. We have CJ Holmes coming on, talking about the Golden State Warriors, talking about Steph Curry, talking about his legacy. But first and foremost, Joel Embiid won the MVP, the first African-born player since Hakeem Olajuwon. That's special in itself because, you know, Hakeem is arguably what most people consider the most skilled big man of all time. You know, his footwork in the paint office, also his defensive ability as well is phenomenal. But Joel Embiid winning this MVP, I feel like eventually when it's all said and done, most people are going to put Joel Embiid as probably the most skilled center of all time because he has the footwork in the post. You know, he has the defense ability. But I think what makes Joel Embiid stand out and what makes him even more special and why I'm happy he won this MVP is his ability to boogie on the outside of the paint, you know, the perimeter. You know, this is a guy that said basically he started watching basketball, started watching the Los Angeles Lakers. That was one of his favorite teams growing up. And the reason why he fell in love with the game was watching Kobe Bryant. And to see a 7-footer basically be a two guard at times on the perimeter and kind of be like Kobe at times with the jab work, with the fadeaway ability is very, very special. And it's phenomenal. And I'm glad he won the MVP. He truly deserved it. I know people are going to talk about maybe it was a lopsided vote for his like 73 first place votes for Joel Embiid. And maybe people feel like Nikola Jokic and Giannis should have had more first place votes that they got. But I really feel like Joel Embiid had an historical season a lot of people don't really want to talk about, but need to give him credit. I mean, this is a guy that won back-to-back scoring titles, which was the first time this happened in 45 years. You know, that's something impressive. And then we talk about a guy that had 350-point performance this year as a center. That's another thing that's impressive. Like, he had a historical season. I think we need to give him the respect and the credit that he deserves. And I'm so happy that the MVP trophy and award is going back to Philly. The last Philly player won, of course, was Allen Iverson. And I'm very happy that Joel Embiid, and congratulations to Joel Embiid as well. But coming on, once again, we have CJ Holmes of the Golden State Warriors, writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, talking once again about Steph Curry, talking about the Los Angeles Lakers series. Are they going to advance against the Lakers? Find out. Tune in. And we're back with another fire guest today. We have CJ Holmes, Warriors writer from the San Francisco Chronicle. How you doing today, man?
Oh, good, man. Thanks for having me.
Good. CJ, where are you from?
Washington, D.C.
Well, from D.C.? Okay, we out here in New York. How did you gain your love for basketball?
Oh, man, you know, the funny thing is, like, when I was a kid growing up in D.C., mom was a single mother. Parents got divorced when I was young. So, you know, a lot of I had an older sister. And a lot of my childhood consisted of staying in the house, eating a lot of food, and playing video games. I wasn't really that sporty of a kid when I was little. But around when I was like maybe 11, 12 years old, my mom remarried, met my stepdad, who was, you know, just as close to me as my real dad is, but he's really the one who got me into hoops. He's the one who got me into, you know, he's the reason why I'm in the frat I'm in. I'm a member of Mega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
You know, shameless plug real quick. And although there was a lot of kicking and screaming early, you know, in my basketball career in terms of going for frags and stuff, eventually I fell in love with the game. And, you know, that took me to IMG Academy. And IMG Academy took me to Auburn University. And, you know, now I get to, you know, I ain't make it to the league as a player, but, you know, I made it to the league as a journalist. And it's pretty cool getting to, you know, cover the game I love every day.
How was it playing for Auburn?
It was a good experience. We didn't really win a lot of games during my time in school, gotta be honest with you. I never got to play an NCAA tournament or, you know, anything like that. But, you know, the relationships I've formed, the perspective I've gotten, you know, about the game of basketball, you know, if I could do all over again, I would. You know, some of my lifelong friends are, you know, the people who, you know, I went to war with between those lines every day, you know, in practice and games, you know, got to play all over the SEC. Got to play with a lot of guys, you know, around the league who I cover right now. You know, it's funny, when I first started covering the Warriors, I had to talk, you know, I was chatting with Gary Payton II. You know, he was at Oregon State when I was at Auburn, and we played him out in Vegas. So it's just like little things like that that kind of like, I want to say, you know, gives me a leg up on other journalists, but that perspective of actually, you know, being someone who played and, you know, been around the game at a high level only like helps me, you know, in terms of my professional career.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I didn't play Division I, but I did play D3. So, you know, that different perspective when you've been on the court and you had to do it. And then you go into the sports industry, especially basketball, you have a little kind of like a little advantage. But you went to Auburn. I got to ask about Jabari Smith from the Rockets. How do you feel about him
I
this year?
love
Yeah.
I love Bari, man.
Yeah.
You know, he was after me. I didn't know him that personally, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, my best friend KT Rell, who's now the director of basketball ops over at FAU.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got to coach Bari, and you know, I've heard nothing but good things about the kid. Good kid, great player. And you know, whenever the Rockets are at Chase Center or we go down to Houston, I make sure I hit him with a little War Eagle if I see him. But his rookie year got off to a rough start. You
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe not a rough start, but maybe a slow start. It's more accurate way to say it. But
Yeah.
really picked it up as the year went on. I know he lit up the Warriors the last time we
Yeah.
went down. Last time we all went down to Houston. So I mean, I think the sky's is the limit for the kid. He's a top 5 pick for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody can be Apollo Banchero and come out here dominating out,
Yeah.
you know,
NBA
straight
ready
from,
body.
yeah, you know, stay straight
Yeah.
for, but, you know, in terms of that NBA ready body, I think he's going to continue to grow into his body, add more muscle, become more of a force at the defensive end. And, you know, obviously the offense is going to come as it did down the stretch of the regular season. Sky's the limit for Barry, man.
Yeah, I think he's smooth. I think he has a lot of potential, like shooting ability. If he could just tighten his handle up a little bit, just like you said, the sky's the limit. We're here to talk about the Warriors, though, so let's get let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis, 30, 23, 5, and then 4 blocks. How did the Golden State Warriors stop Anthony Davis for the rest of this series?
I don't think there's no stopping Anthony
Okay.
Davis. You know what I'm saying? The
Okay.
only thing that's stopping Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis, right? You know, his availability has been in question for, you know, a lot of his career, especially over the last couple of years in terms of being healthy and staying on the court. But, you know,
Mhm.
when Anthony Davis is on the court, you know, he's arguably the best, you know, the best forward/center in the league. I mean, the
Yeah.
dude's a unicorn, supreme length, can attack you in different ways, whether it's from 3 or around the rim. Ultimate rim protection. The Lakers funnel everything defensively towards him. Um, so there's really no stopping Anthony Davis. Is just like really finding ways to limit him and slow him down. Despite Kevon Looney's best efforts
Yeah.
last night, the dude still walked out of Chase Center with 30 and 20.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, Kevon Looney's what, 6'9", like
Mhm.
6'8",
Yeah,
6'9".
6'8", 6'9".
You know, you can be physical of 80 all you want, but, you know, he can shoot right over the top, right? He can
Mhm.
still shoot over the top, and if his touch is going, it's gonna be a long night. Going forward in terms of adjustments, all you can really do is continue to keep fresh bodies on him, you know, make him work for his touches, you know, play physical with them, especially playing physical without guarding, you know, trying to keep him off the free throw line. He's a big like AD, he loves to live at the free throw line.
Yeah.
And then, you know, really just hope for the best because at the end of the day, he's one of the best in the world. And, you know, when he decides he's on, he's on.
Yeah. What do you feel about the offensive side though for the Golden State Warriors? I feel like Steph Curry was on, Jordan Poole was on, Klay Thompson was on. And the reason why I said what can you do to kind of like maybe not on the offensive side, I think Anthony Davis is going to get hits, but maybe the defensive side, maybe you pull him out of the paint and into the perimeter. Because I'm looking at it right now. You said Kevon Looney, and then they also got Draymond Green. But I feel like LeBron's guarding Draymond. Anthony Davis guarding Kevon Looney. Those guys aren't really threats offensively. So you got guys that's going to be fresh on the offensive side of the ball. And then, you know, on the defensive side, they're not on the perimeter. So maybe do you consider having Stephen Curry, you know, have the ball more in his hands and maybe putting Anthony Davis and even LeBron James in the pick and roll? Or what do you do? You just still with this, do you stay with the same formula, the Golden State Warriors formula, which is, you know, heavy ball movement and finding the guys open and the right shots?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think either almost half or half the Warriors shots in game 1 against the Lakers was from 3-point range. And a lot of
Yeah.
that is because, as you said, you know, AD, they're funneling everything towards AD. And it's, you
Yeah.
know, he had 4 blocks, but he also altered like a handful of other shots.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, offensively for the Warriors, you know, they're obviously a 3-point shooting happy team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, although they tied a record for the amount of 3-pointer, they had like what, 50, they attempted like what, 54 threes last night, was
Yeah.
like tied a record for the
Yeah.
most threes ever attempted in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
But they also made 21 of them, which also tied a record for the most makes. And they shot 40% on that clip.
Yeah.
So I don't think necessarily the 3-point shooting is the issue. The issue what I saw in game one offensively was the disparity at the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Lakers had 17 3-throw attempts for the Warriors even took one, right? And I think the Warriors took 6 for the game, or like the Lakers took like 27 or something like that. And a lot of that has to do with the contrasting styles of play. The Warriors want to run. They want to shoot a lot of threes. The Lakers, they want to slow down. They want to play inside out. They want to get the ball in the paint. They want to attack the paint. Naturally, when you attack the paint more frequently, you're going to get more foul calls.
Right.
You're not going to get a lot of foul calls jacking up 54 threes a game. So the adjustment that the Warriors have to make heading into game 2 offensively is to, although the threat of Davis in the paint, that's going to be a thing all series, right? You want to put him in, screen and rolls. Darvin Ham's going to find a way to, keep him in the paint. It's going to be a constant throughout the series. So the Warriors have to get into a mindset where they're attacking to score, not necessarily just attacking to see contact. You can't go in there expecting your shot to get blocked. As Steve Kerr said, there has to be a sense of fearlessness in it. You got to make AD work. You know what I'm saying? If you're going in there and you're throwing up weak stuff, it's going the other way. LeBron had 3 blocks yesterday. I think Jared Vanderbilt had 2. D'Lo had 1. AD had 4. That's because they're throwing up weak stuff. They're not necessarily getting their body into these guys and drawing fouls. So while I don't think the 3-point shooting will be an issue as long as they're shooting an efficient clip, there has to be more of a desire to attack the rim, get an AD in foul trouble. And when you're doing that, you have a more balanced attack and things will loosen up for them offensively.
And who does that come from on the offensive side for the attacking? We know Stephen Curry, he can get to the rim. He's a underrated finisher. People don't talk about like Stephen Curry's finish ability, but I feel like Jordan Poole's another guy, like creatively, he can finish at the basket. But I think the guys that you kind of want to be more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, it's the same guys where Anthony Davis and LeBron James kind of chilling when they're guarding. That's Draymond Green and also Kevon Looney. Maybe they have to be the ones attacking and trying to put some type of offensive pressure on the Lakers.
Those are all strong points. Steph's going to get to the rim. JP, like you said, JP is capable of getting to the rim, but there are times where it seems as if he is driving expecting to get fouled instead of driving to get a bucket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Referees, say what you want about the, officiating in these playoffs, but, the way the game is supposed to be played and the way the game is supposed to be officiated is that referees they reward physical play. They reward intent. You know what I'm saying? So with JP, there has to be more of an intent to score rather than just going in there, seeking contact, hoping to get fouled. Because referees will sense that. Next thing you know, you're not going to get a call. There might be more opportunities. How the Warriors love to do dribble handoffs in the motion offense. I mean, so there needs to be more of like maybe Draymond faking that handoff and going to the rim, drawing fouls. I guess bottom line is it has to come from everyone across the board because the Warriors have so many capable drivers on the team. It's just a mindset they have to adopt in order to want to do that instead of simply settling for outside shots, just because they can make. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Who would you say going forward has to be maybe not the key guys like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, or maybe even Draymond? Like, who would you say has to be maybe can contribute that's not necessarily getting the minutes right now? Like, who could be an X factor for the Golden State Warriors this series that's not really getting the minutes right now? Like a Dante or like a Moody or somebody of that ilk.
I would love to say a Jonathan Kuminga, but for one reason or another, he's been absent, from the playoff rotation. He only averaged like 6 minutes per game in the Warriors open round series against Sacramento. And he didn't even, in pregame, Steve Kerr yesterday in pregame, Steve Kerr said that, this is a series where Jonathan Kuminga can make an impact, yet he didn't receive a single minute off the bench. I went into the game with the impression that, okay, maybe JK will be one of the guys that start the second quarter. That turned out, in terms of bigs, right? It turned out to be JaMychal Green, and that's kind of where my X factor is if that's the direction Kerr is going to keep going in. And I say that to say this, when the Warriors are on offense, the Lakers are going to want to pack the paint, right? That gives an opportunity for JaMychal Green, a stretch big who isn't afraid to shoot that three, to be able to stretch the floor, knock down threes, and loosen up that defense a little bit, right? That's coming more so from the second unit, but still he's bringing something to that offensive attack. And, in terms of a stretch four at, the Warriors, don't really have right now. So Jermichael Green is knocking down that 3-point shot at a high clip. And I think he shot it pretty decently in game one. I expect him to get more minutes going forward because in terms of loosening up that defense, that's exactly what the Warriors need.
Right. That's not a bad X factor. Let's say the Warriors go out and they beat the Lakers and they win this series and they head to the NBA Finals like they did last year and they won the Finals. What would a fifth ring mean for Stephen Curry's legacy?
Man, the funny thing is, we were sitting in Boston last year at the finals, everyone, reporters, everyone kind of talking like it was the last dance in a sense, because I don't think anyone expected them to win it last year, but somehow they got it done. And, to beat a young, hungry Boston team, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like that was an accomplishment within itself. Not to mention that the Warriors, everyone count out the Warriors in that final series. And, Boston, I believe, entered that series as the best defensive team in the league, and the Warriors just took them to church. Steph Curry took them to church, man. But
I think you think people counted the Warriors out last year. I thought
absolutely.
I thought the Warriors was going to win.
I know.
You did? Okay, well, that's it. So you're covering the team, so I respect that. I definitely respect that take. Yeah, I mean, last year I felt like the Warriors. I don't know. It just in the regular season and in the playoffs, I was like, I don't think anybody was going to beat the Warriors. I think Boston was the best team that had a chance to do it because, like you said, they had the young talent and also defensive wise. But when you got a dynasty, it's just like you're going against guys that never been to the finals. So I thought the Warriors was going to win, but that's here nor there. What would this, if they do win this year, what would this do for Stephen Curry and his legacy? A fifth ring, because we're talking about guys like Kobe, Tim Duncan. He would join that list of a very small group of guys that have won 5 championships.
I think Stephen Curry is already a top 10 player, in the history of this league. But winning a fifth ring, during an era where LeBron James, was in the league, winning championships, going to finals, to say that you won, I think what was it? 2 or 3 of their 4 championships against LeBron James. You had to go through LeBron again to get the ring number 5. I think there needs to be a serious, conversation about who the best player in this generation is. I'm just saying.
Okay. You think so? I mean, I wouldn't. My thing about that, I think this year, Steph is 35. He's still in his prime. LeBron James is 38 years old. When he's healthy, you can make an argument that he's a top 10 player in the league still when he's healthy. I wouldn't necessarily say force. I understand the fact that, like you said, going against LeBron James, and at the end of the day, like, you play who you play. You make it to the finals regardless of who has the better team. It's just like whoever's in front of you got to win at the end of the day, and that's what the Golden State Warriors did. Only thing that I would say about that in those matchups, we really only saw like 2 really like finals matchups where I would consider like it was actually a LeBron versus, Curry type of finals. That's my opinion, because we know what happened when Kevin Durant came on. And that's not to take away from Stephen Curry or anything, because I'm a firm believer that believes that, it was a 1A, 1B situation. Kevin Durant won those finals MVPs, but Stephen Curry's his gravity on the court, getting double schemed and stuff like that. It helped them win those championships. So I don't know if I would say like it needs to be a conversation for us, like who is the best player of this generation, if it's LeBron James or Stephen Curry, if Steph goes out and win a fifth ring. But I will say, I think a fifth ring for his legacy would probably make him, without question, if not a top 5 player, damn near close. I don't think how you can really deny that. I think personally, because I view the game as talent, skill set, and also then you combine the legacy. To me, he's already a top 5 player, because strictly basketball, we talk about just strictly basketball, resumes aside, talent, skill set. Is it 5 players that play this game better than Steph Curry right now? Probably not. So that conversation is definitely a conversation, CJ. But I want to get into this next segment, and it's called the Truth Teller segment. So I'm basically going to read you off a tweet. I want you to tell me if this guy or this girl is a truth teller or not. Sounds good?
Okay.
All right. So it says, From Cuffs to Legend. Street saying that the Suns ain't nothing but the Brooklyn Nets with cactus in their yard. Truth teller or not?
What in their yard?
Cactus in their yard. Street saying that the Suns ain't nothing but the Brooklyn Nets with cactus in their yard. Is he a truth teller or not?
I don't think, I think that's false, man.
Okay.
You know, while the KD Suns have similar depth issues when compared to, you know, the KD Kyrie Nets.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that starting five, KD, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, you know, Chris Paul whenever he decides to be healthy, and who cares who has the last spot. I think that's arguably the best 5-man group in the entire league, right? I don't think KD could say that about his starting five in Brooklyn. And I think Phoenix's biggest issue right now is they give up a lot to KD. They don't really have a lot of depth left, and that's going to show even more so now if Chris Paul expected to miss games 3 through 5. And that's even saying, man, that's if they don't mess around and get swept, right? So I do think that this version of the Suns is better than that version of the Nets. But the depth issues are, you know, definitely similar.
Yeah, I think they're definitely similar. Also, I feel like for the Phoenix Suns, when it's their situation is similar with Kyrie Irving. When Kyrie Irving came over to Dallas Mavericks, when you try to get a superstar over, you deplete your depth. And it's kind of like you got to go to war with the players you got and then get in the offseason, then you got to retool. Boris, like you said, you brought up Chris Paul. That's interesting because I know Chris Paul is hurt and stuff like that. I felt like the initial problem with this series was Chris Paul. I thought he should have came off the bench. And the reason why I thought he should have came off the bench because I felt like they would have had a better chance of kind of like switching everything defensively. And then you let Chris Paul kind of come in and attack the second unit. But now he's hurt. And now it's like maybe they do that, but they need bodies and they don't have Chris Paul. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can make this a series. They make this a series and they win without Chris Paul. And then maybe the idea will probably come like, okay, now Chris Paul, you come off the bench. And maybe they go from there. But next one, basically talk about the Golden State Warriors and Jordan Poole. Tyrese Halliburton said, "What's wrong with the shot?" Everybody know we're talking about the shot with Jordan Poole took at the end of game one. He was wide open. I would have shot the ball too. Is Tyrese Halliburton a true teller?
I think that's facts.
Okay.
You know, fairly or unfairly, you know, Jordan is scrutinized more so than any other Warrior, especially this season. But, you know, he played one hell of a game last night. You know, he showed he had it going from range. You know, game clock's running down. You got 9 seconds left. You know, the Lakers are kind of pressing up on the perimeter. They found Jordan. Yeah, he was a couple steps behind the free throw line, but he was open. And that's a shot that he has proven time and time again that he can make. And he was feeling it that night. So I don't have a problem with that shot.
Yeah.
Especially considering, like, you know, if you think back to that, what was it? I think it was that game. What was it? Game 4 when the Warriors were playing Sacramento. You know, they let the clock run down too late. Harrison Barnes misses a 3. You only even have the opportunity to get offense rebound and get another shot up.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with Jordan Poole, a guy who made like 3-4 threes already that night at an efficient clip, you know, taking a wide open shot from a little bit deep. I think Emmanuel Acho, I want to say, like, posted like a 3-minute clip on Twitter last night of Jordan making shots from similar spots. He can make that shot. He was confident. He let it fly. Good shot.
Yeah,
it just didn't go in.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you make some make or miss league. I feel like Jordan Poole, that shot he was open. I think the only problem is people was talking about was like 10 seconds on the clock and maybe he could have stepped in further. But who knows if he would have stepped in further, taking an off dribble, you know, shot is tougher than taking a catch and shoot shot. But I think the only problem is most people are going to say, well, even though he's capable of making that shot, do you really want your third or fourth option on your team taking that shot when it's that much time left? Especially when you got Steph on your team and Klay Thompson as well. But those guys were guarded. So it's here nor there. Next tweet, BK94119. That's a weird Twitter name. But you kind of talked about this a little bit. What Kerr doing to Kuminga is just wrong, man. Seriously. Dude played his ass off all year, and one bad game, he ruins his confidence. Worst coach I've ever seen for young talent. Truth teller or not?
think that's false. Um, whenever someone wants to, get into the argument of Kerr and his ability to develop young talent, and I just look at the guy we just talked about, Jordan Poole. This is a guy that, entered the league. People thought he had no business being a first round pick. A couple years into his, a season or two into his career, that it looked like he had no business being in the NBA. But, the Warriors have one of the best, developmental staffs in the entire league. And Jordan Poole went from a fringe G League player to a guy who was to be getting a major contract this summer, and now he's off to the races, right? One thing about the Warriors and this veteran lady, one thing about Steve Kerr is he rides his veterans in the postseason. And if there's even a sliver of doubt in his mind that a young guy will go out there and prevent that team from winning, then they're not going to play. And I'm actually working on a story on JK right now, and I talked to him last night in the locker room. He remains confident, and a lot of people are scratching their heads why he isn't playing, but, there's got to be a reason. From my experience covering this team, there's got to be a reason, whether it's, matchups or, something that's going on behind the scenes. But the fact of the matter is JK has to stay ready. And I think eventually in this postseason, we'll get his opportunity. And when he does, he has to make the most of it. But I don't think that's a reflection of Kerr. I think Kerr's just doing what, he believes he's putting the best, 8 to 10 guys out there that he thinks can win like right now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like it's tough. It's like a damn
Yeah.
if you do, damn if you don't situation. Like you're trying to compete for championship and also develop talent. I think last year they probably became like the first successful team, probably ever, to do that. When we talk about still having guys and vets and still letting your young guys develop during a regular season, then they win a championship. That's probably to me the first time I ever seen a team with those type of vets where still was able to develop some of their young guys through the season. So I think we got to give Kerr the benefit of doubt and cut him a little bit slack. But for this next segment, it's called Say It With Your Chest. So I'm going to say a word, and you're going to say the first word or some analysis that becomes behind the word I'm saying. So, I forgot what I was going to say. Monte Ellis, first word. Monte Ellis.
One of my favorite players to watch when I was young. Real-time beef with Steph Curry.
Oh.
Fell off quicker than I thought he would. Miss watching him play.
He was a combo guard. I feel like, talk about the beef with Steph Curry, though. Why you say he had beef with Steph Curry?
I mean, it's well documented, right? When Steph first came to the Warriors, Monte wasn't too happy about that, bringing another guard to an organization that, could take away from his touches and his minutes. And, funny story about that. Last year when I was new on the beat, I wasn't really familiar with that beef. And I was trying to write a story that kind of painted a parallel between Steph grooming Jordan and how Monte groomed Steph. Turns out there wasn't much grooming going on, through the review and research. But I love watching Monte play with those old school Warriors teams, and he's a lot better player than he ever got credit for.
Yeah,
and I wish he played a little bit longer. I wish he was in this situation, or he knew the situation where he could have won a championship or something like that. But Monte was, one hell of a scoring guard, and I love watching him play.
Respect. One of the most underrated players this league has ever seen. Next one, We Believe Warriors.
Aaron Davis. Where were you when he dunked on Andre Karolinko? I remember what I was doing. I was about to go to the movies with my family. And they're like, CJ, hurry up, we're going to miss the movie. Yeah. I'm like, Mom, no, give me 2 seconds. Like the game, it's the fourth quarter, game's almost over now. Boy, Barron went baseline and ended Andre Karolinko's life. Yeah. That's one of my favorite basketball moments. A lot of people's favorite basketball moments, especially here in the Bay Area. But Barry Davis is, kind of like Monte. Baron Davis is one of the best guards in this league that people do not talk about often. Yeah. And people forget he was getting busy with the Hornets too.
The Hornets, yep.
He was getting busy with the Hornets too before he even came to Golden State. UCLA, you know what I'm saying? So shouts to Baron Davis. Dude was tough.
Yeah, his package was crazy. Like isolation, then he had the strength and size to get to the rim, and then finish over the top. Handle ability. He was tough. When we talk about some of the best one-on-one players of all time, people sleep on Baron Davis because that brother was cold. Next one, when it's all said and done, will Stephen Curry be on the NBA's Mount Rushmore?
How many heads on Mount Rushmore?
Four. Mount Rushmore. Only 4 heads on the Mount Rushmore.
When
it's all said and done. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. I hope you have Kobe in there, but that's those are my 3 locks. That's me though.
Kobe, LeBron.
Who the 4?
Boy, one more, huh?
Yeah. Some people got Shaq, Kareem. It's a lot of guys. Wilt, Bill Russell. I don't got those guys. Larry Bird, I ain't got, but I'm just saying some people may have KD when it's all said and done. You never know. That's why I'm asking you.
That's tough, man. That's tough. That's like 20 guys competing for one roster spot.
It's kind of like what we talked about, like talent, skill set, and you combine the legacy. That's how I look at it when I talk about these top guys, the all-time list.
I feel like we need to go back though. Like we gotta have somebody from like the
Magic. Most people see Magic on there.
Let's tentatively put Magic on there.
Okay.
I was about to be an ass and say John Wall. That's my favorite player, but
okay. hopefully Jay Wall can get back in the league next year because I still think he got some talent. You think it's over? Okay.
It's over. It's over.
Last one for this segment. If KD doesn't leave the Warriors, fill in the sentence, fill in the blank. If KD doesn't leave the Warriors.
Steph Curry has 6 rings already.
6 rings. I did
6.
6. How many finals MVPs though? That's the question.
I say 2.
You say 2? Okay.
I say 2. Yeah.
Okay.
There'll at least be some final series where, he kind of outduels KD as his teammate. So I say at least 2.
He almost got one the second time. He was going for it too, but he had that bad game. I think that kind of messed him up, and then Kevin Durant dropped the triple-double.
And the minute he got robbed by Iguodala.
Oh yeah, I mean that was
that was crazy.
that was crazy. But final question, CJ. 3 favorite Warriors of all time. Who you got?
Baron Davis.
Respect.
3 favorite Warriors.
Not best, your favorites.
Well, definitely Baron Davis. Steven Jackson.
Interesting. Okay.
Tim Hardaway.
You was okay. I respect. That's a list that most people would not expect or probably have. I have Baron Davis on mine. I got Monte Ellis, and also I gotta include Curry. I think what Curry has done for that Warriors,
I'm saying I cover him. I gotta be objective.
You gotta be objective. I know. I respect it. I respect it. But CJ, thank you for coming on, man. Do you got anything you want to say to Hoop Ties family, Slam, and also plug yourself. Tell us where we can find you at.
Hey, Hoop Ties, Slam, thanks for having me. For anybody who enjoyed, listen to me rap today, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at CJ Holmes 22. I'm always pumping out that content for the Chronicle on the dubs, and would love any support y'all can give me. I appreciate retweets, not likes, and that's all I got.
Appreciate you, man. And we going, man. Peace.
Hey, thanks for having me.